Evan Hale never expected the first alien who truly noticed him would do so in silence. The human diplomatic station on Illith Prime was calm to the point of boredom. It floated above the planet's pale blue surface like a careful thought, balanced and controlled. Every corridor was quiet. Every interaction was monitored. Every word was filtered through layers of translation software and cultural protocol. Humanity had learned very quickly that survival among the stars required patience. Evan had patience. That was why he was there. He was a linguist, trained to listen more than speak. His job was to sit with the Avaran observers and record subtle changes in tone, posture, and rhythm. The Avaran did not show emotion the way humans did. Their faces were smooth and still. Their voices rarely changed pitch. To most humans, they felt distant and cold. To Evan, they felt careful. That night, the station lights dimmed to their rest cycle. Evan returned to his assigned habitat, a shared living space designed to encourage cultural familiarity. The room was wide and softly lit, with curved walls and a low resting platform in the center. The air smelled faintly of minerals and something like rain. Velthira was already there. She stood near the wall, tall and slender, her dark eyes reflecting the soft light. She had been assigned to the station only 3 days earlier, replacing another Avaran envoy without explanation. Evan had noticed her immediately, not because she was different, but because she watched differently. Most Avaran observed from a distance. Velthira watched as if measuring something invisible. "You are late," she said, her voice even and calm as always. "By 4 minutes," Evan replied, checking the time out of habit. "Human schedules are less exact during rest cycles." "I know," she said. "I accounted for it." That made him pause. She stepped closer, her movements smooth and deliberate. Evan felt a strange pressure in the air, like the moment before a storm. The translator implant in his ear hummed softly as it worked to keep pace with the Avaran language, which relied as much on intent as sound. "Is something wrong?" Evan asked. Velthira did not answer immediately. Instead, she reached out. Before Evan could step back or even fully understand what was happening, she placed a hand on his arm. Her grip was firm, not painful, but impossible to ignore. She guided him backward until the edge of the resting platform pressed against his legs. Then, with surprising strength, she pulled him down. Evan stumbled, landing on the platform, his heart racing. The action was not violent, but it was sudden, completely outside protocol. His mind rushed through training manuals, trying to find a rule that explained what to do when an alien envoy physically moved you without warning. Velthira followed him down, not on top of him, but close enough that he could feel the warmth of her presence. She leaned in, her face inches from his, her eyes locked onto his. The translator lagged for half a second, then she whispered a single word. "Mine." The word was soft, almost gentle. Evan laughed, nervous and confused. "I think there's been a translation error." There was no humor in her expression. Around them, the habitat systems changed. Lights shifted from neutral white to a deep amber. A soft tone echoed through the room, not an alarm but a confirmation signal. Evan's implant suddenly flooded him with data, legal overlays, cultural flags, status changes. His breath caught. "What did you just do?" he asked. Velthira did not let go. "I acted," she said, "before it was too late." The station AI spoke next, its voice calm and artificial. "Binding declaration recognized. Protective claim acknowledged under Avaran High Accord. Subject Evan Hale status updated, affiliated, protected." Evan sat frozen, his mind struggling to keep up. "This has to be a mistake," he said. "I didn't agree to anything." "Consent is not required," Velthira said quietly. "Not for this." Outside the habitat, movement spread through the station. Avaran observers stopped walking. Human security paused mid-step. Conversations died as status alerts appeared in peripheral displays. No one rushed in. No one tried to stop it. Evan looked around the room, then back at Velthira. You can't just claim a human-like equipment. A very slight change passed over her face. If he hadn't spent years studying Avaran microexpressions, he would have missed it. That, she said, is why I had to. She finally released his arm but remained close, sitting beside him on the platform. Her posture was relaxed, but her attention never left him. You are not owned, she continued. You are declared. Declared as what? Evan asked. As necessary. The words settled heavily between them. Evan stood, needing space, but the room itself seemed smaller now. The amber light felt warm, almost enclosing. You need to undo this. Whatever this is, it's going to cause problems. Yes, Velthira agreed. It already has. His wrist display flickered to life, filling with notifications. Diplomatic channels requesting clarification. Security advisories. Priority messages marked red. One message stood out, stamped with an unfamiliar symbol. Threat probability updated, critical. Catalyst exposure confirmed. Evan swallowed. Catalyst. Velthira rose and faced him fully now. Your species is not what the galaxy believed. That's not new, Evan said. We've been underestimated before. This is different, she replied. You adapt faster than any predictive model allows. You form connections that alter outcomes simply by existing within a system. She stepped closer again, but this time did not touch him. You destabilize futures, she said. Not through force, through choice. Evan felt a chill. So your solution is to what? Protect me. To protect you, she said, and through you, your people. A sharp knock echoed at the habitat entrance. Before Evan could answer, the door slid open. A human security officer stood there, flanked by two Avaran guards. All three wore expressions of forced calm. Evan Hale, the officer said carefully, we need to speak with you. Velthira turned toward them. Her voice was still soft, but the air in the room seemed to tighten. He is under my claim, she said. Speak with care. The officer hesitated. Evan had never seen a trained human soldier hesitate before. We're aware, the officer said. That's the problem. Evan looked from one to the other, realizing the truth settling into place. This was bigger than a misunderstanding. Somewhere beyond the station, lines were being redrawn. Decisions were being reconsidered. Plans were being abandoned or accelerated. And at the center of it all was him, a human who had been quietly listening, quietly learning, believing he was small enough to be safe. Velthira met his gaze again. You are not alone anymore, she said, and the galaxy has noticed. Evan did not know whether to feel protected or trapped, but he knew one thing for certain. Nothing would ever be quiet again. The meeting room was larger than Evan expected and quieter than it should have been. He sat at the center table, hands folded back straight, trying to look calm while his mind raced. The walls were made of transparent alloy, showing the slow curve of Illith Prime below. Normally, Evan loved views like this. They reminded him why humanity had reached for the stars. Today, the planet felt like it was watching him. Velthira stood behind him, slightly to his right. She did not sit. Avaran rarely did during serious matters. Her presence was steady, almost grounding, but Evan could feel the attention she drew. Every alien in the room noticed her. Every human felt the weight of what she represented. Across the table sat representatives from 4 species, human diplomats on one side, non-human observers on the other. No one spoke at first. Finally, Ambassador Reyes cleared her throat. Let's begin, she said. We are here to discuss the Avaran protective claim placed on human citizen Evan Hale. Evan flinched at the words protective claim. Velthira did not. The claim is valid, Velthira said. It follows our oldest laws. Reyes nodded slowly. That may be so, but it was placed without consent and without warning. That is a serious breach of trust. Trust, Velthira replied, was already broken. That caused movement around the table. A tall alien with pale skin and layered eyes leaned forward. You accuse without proof, the alien said. Its translator rendered the words flat but sharp. Velthira turned to face them. Your fleets adjusted course 3 cycles ago. Silence followed. Evan felt his stomach tighten. Reyes looked sharply at the alien delegate. Is that true? The alien did not answer. Another species spoke, its voice buzzing through the translator. Predictive caution, nothing more. Velthira tilted her head. Your caution involved weapons. The room grew colder, though the temperature did not change. Evan finally spoke. Can someone explain why I'm the center of this? Every eye turned to him. Reyes hesitated, then sighed. Because you were flagged. Flagged as what? She looked uncomfortable. As a variable. Velthira spoke gently this time. Your species is not aggressive in the way others understand. You do not conquer easily. You do not submit easily. You change systems by joining them. Evan shook his head. That sounds like normal cooperation. For most species, Velthira said, cooperation is temporary. For humans, it is permanent. The pale alien leaned back. You spread, it said, culturally, economically, emotionally. Evan frowned. We make friends. You make bonds, the alien replied, and bonds outlast fear. Reyes looked at Evan. Several species believe humanity will eventually make existing power structures irrelevant, not by force, by connection. Evan stared at the table. So the solution was to attack us. No, Velthira said. The solution was to isolate you, remove key individuals, delay your expansion. Evan's head snapped up. Remove, the buzzing alien shifted. Neutralize influence points. Reyes stood abruptly. That is not acceptable. Neither, Velthira said, was your silence. Reyes froze. What? Velthira turned to her. Your intelligence network saw the same projections we did. You knew some species were afraid. Reyes did not deny it. Evan felt something twist inside him. You knew. We suspected, Reyes said softly, but we believed diplomacy could handle it. And if it failed? Evan asked. Reyes looked away. Velthira placed a hand on Evan's shoulder. The contact was firm, steady, grounding. The room reacted instantly. Displays flickered. Security systems updated. The claim was still active. You see, Velthira said, already the system bends around him. The pale alien hissed. That is exactly the danger. Evan pushed his chair back and stood. No, the danger is fear. Everyone watched him now. You're afraid of what we might become, he said, so you plan to hurt us before we get there. You are naive, the alien replied. Evan shook his head. No, I'm human. He took a breath. We don't grow strong alone. We grow strong together. Every alliance, every shared idea, every promise matters to us. Velthira's eyes softened. And that, Evan continued, is why you're scared, because once we care, we don't stop. Silence followed. Reyes slowly smiled, not a diplomat's smile, a human one. This meeting is suspended, she said. We will reconvene after internal review. The delegates rose. Some left quickly. Others lingered, watching Evan as if seeing him for the first time. When the room was empty, Evan slumped back into his chair. I didn't want this, he said quietly. Velthira remained standing. I know. Then why me? Because you listen, she said, and because you stay. Evan laughed weakly. That's it. For humans, she replied, that is everything. Days passed, but peace did not return. The station changed. Security increased, but not just human. Alien guards appeared in places they never had before. Ships arrived without announcements. Others quietly left. Evan became busy. Every species wanted to speak with the claimed human, not officially, privately. Carefully, he listened. He listened to fears about lost relevance, about old wars never healed, about futures where their cultures faded into footnotes. Evan did not argue. He shared stories. He talked about Earth, about nations that once tried to destroy each other and now shared satellites, about languages that blended, about mistakes and recovery. You lose yourself, one alien accused. We change, Evan replied. That's not the same thing. Velthira watched it all. She stayed close but never interfered. One evening, Evan finally asked, Are you ever going to let go? She considered the question. When the threat passes. And when will that be? When they stop seeing you as a weapon, Evan sighed. That could take a while. Yes, she agreed, it will. An alert interrupted them, priority channel, unknown origin. Ray's appeared on the screen, her face tense. They're testing us, she said. A small outpost on the edge of human space had gone silent. No attack signature. No debris, just gone. Evan felt cold. A warning. Yes, Ray said. They want to see how we respond. Velthira's posture changed. If humans strike back, fear will justify everything. Evan closed his eyes. Then he smiled. No, he said. We won't do that. Rays blinked. Evan, we go there, he said. Together, humans and Avaran, openly, peacefully. They might attack. Then they show everyone who they really are, Evan replied. Velthira studied him. Slowly she nodded. This, she said, is why I claimed you. The ship departed hours later, carrying a message instead of weapons. Evan stood at the viewport as stars stretched into lines. For the first time, the galaxy was not watching humanity with fear. It was watching with uncertainty. And uncertainty, Evan knew, was the beginning of change. The ship moved quietly through space, its engines steady and calm. Evan stood near the front viewport, hands resting on the rail, watching the stars drift past. The silence inside the ship felt different from before. It was not empty, it was focused. Velthira stood a short distance behind him. She did not speak. She did not need to. Evan had learned that her silence often meant she was listening to things others could not hear. Patterns, signals, intent. The outpost appeared ahead of them like a shadow against the stars. It was still there, but barely. The structure floated where it should not have, power low, lights dark, communication silent. No signs of battle, no broken hull, just absence. It felt wrong, like a room where someone had just been but left too quickly. Evan felt his chest tighten. They took it, he said. Yes, Velthira replied, but not destroyed it. The ship slowed. No weapons armed. No shields raised beyond standard safety. The message they broadcast was simple and open. We are here. We are not attacking. Other ships appeared moments later. Alien vessels of different shapes and designs holding position at a distance. Observers, watchers. The galaxy was paying attention now. A signal came through. Not a demand, not a threat. An invitation. Evan looked back at Velthira. They want to talk. They want to test, she corrected. The airlock opened soon after. Evan stepped through with Velthira beside him. No guards followed. That alone sent a message. The space inside the outpost was dim but intact. Gravity was stable. Systems were running at minimum power. At the center of the main chamber stood three figures, tall and sharp-edged, their forms wrapped in dark armor that seemed to absorb light. One of them stepped forward. You came without weapons, it said. Yes, Evan replied. That was unwise. Maybe, Evan said, but it was honest. The figure studied him. You are the claimed one. I am human, Evan said. The claim doesn't change that. The figure turned slightly toward Velthira. You bind yourselves to instability. Velthira's voice was calm. We bind ourselves to possibility. The alien laughed softly. Possibility ends civilizations. Evan shook his head. Fear does. The alien's gaze returned to Evan. Your kind spreads, you replace. You make others less important. That's not true, Evan said. We don't replace, we connect. You consume culture. We share it, Evan replied, and we let it change us. The alien paused. Why come here, it asked. You know we could end you, Evan nodded. Yes. But you didn't. Silence stretched between them. You took the outpost, Evan continued, not to kill but to scare, to see if we would respond with violence. And, the alien asked. And we didn't, Evan said. We came to listen. Velthira watched closely. This was the moment she had feared and hoped for at the same time. Humans stood at edges and spoke instead of striking. It was dangerous. It was powerful. The alien shifted. You believe words will stop what is coming. No, Evan said. I believe words start things weapons can't finish. A low hum filled the chamber as systems activated. The walls around them displayed images, predictions, timelines, futures branching and collapsing. "You see this," the alien said. "This is what happens when humans become central. Alliances form, old powers fade, balance breaks." Evan stepped closer to the display. "That balance you're protecting," he said softly. "Who does it protect?" The alien did not answer. "Because from where I'm standing," Evan continued, "it protects those already on top." Velthira felt it then. A shift, not surrender, consideration. "You fear being forgotten," Evan said. "So do we. That's why we write and build and remember." "You move too fast," the alien said. "We move because time matters," Evan replied. "Because people matter." The alien looked at the images again. "And if we step aside—" "You won't disappear," Evan said. "You'll change like we all do." Another silence. Finally, the alien spoke. "If we release the outpost, the claim ends." Evan looked back at Velthira. "Does it?" She met his gaze. "The claim can be released at any time." The alien watched closely. "Will you?" Velthira turned fully to Evan. "This is your choice." Evan felt the weight of it settle on him. Protection, influence, safety, all tied to something he never asked for. He smiled, small but real. "I don't need to be held to stand," he said. Velthira nodded slowly. She stepped back and placed her hand over the symbol at her chest. The air shifted, systems updated. The quiet pressure Evan had felt since the claim began slowly faded. The alien stiffened. "You give up your shield," Evan shrugged. "I trust what we've built." The outpost lights brightened. Power returned. Human signals flared back to life. Across space, ships adjusted their positions, not retreating, not advancing, waiting. The alien studied Evan one last time. "You are dangerous." Evan nodded. "Yes, but not in the way you feared." The figures stepped aside. "The outpost is returned." Evan released a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. The journey back was quiet. When they returned to the station, the mood had changed. Messages poured in. Requests, offers, invitations to talk, to build, to plan. Humanity was no longer a question. It was a presence. Evan stood once more in his habitat, looking out at the stars. Velthira stood beside him, no longer bound by law, only by choice. "Do you regret it?" he asked. "No," she said. "I claimed you because I believed humans needed protection. And now," she looked at the stars, "now I believe the galaxy does." Evan smiled. Far beyond the station, old plans were quietly erased. New ones began, not written in fear but in cautious hope. Humanity had not conquered. It had stayed. And that, the galaxy was learning, was far more powerful.